So thank you so much for joining us at Artist Talk at Ujiie Kodai's event. And then today, first of all, Ippodo Gallery is very honored and then delighted to be able to organize this exhibition, Extreme Surfaces. The premiere at the Design Miami, first time from New York. And we actually are now showcasing total of 22 ceramic artists, 22 artists, including ceramics and lacquer and metal and glass and those woodworks, all sorts of materials. And then we believe this Japanese koge, which is the finest craftsmanship and also from the local resourced workmanship, is such powerful in this contemporary world. So we would like to welcome one of our future artists and also star ceramic artist, Kodai Ujiie. Thank you so much for. So today I have a few questions to ask him. So this is such a rare opportunity to focus his work and also his history. そしたら氏家先生、まずこの作品のスタイルがこのようにとてもユニークなんですけども、なったその理由をお聞かせいただけますか。
But we can see the works of Kodai Ujiie Sensei very unique visually, and we're wondering where you found your inspirations, and we're wondering where your style is coming from.
まずですね、僕のなんでこういうスタイルになったかっていうと、僕のこの代表的な漆貫入彩といって貫入に漆を染めてカラフルに見せる技法なんですけれども、こちらを10年ぐらいやってるんですけれども、これがなんでこうできた経緯についてお話ししたいとして、でこれがもともと失敗から生まれた技法なんですね。
So my iconic style is actually called Urushi Kanyusai, and that is the style that you can see from this from Kodai Sensei's vase and T-bowl, the fine lines that you see red and blue, which is actually lacquer. So I paint this crack of the grace on, and I paint the lacquer on top of the crack of the grace, and I call that as an Kanyusai, Urushi Kanyusai. And that's actually my iconic style that I've been doing for 10 years. And this style actually came from my mistake.
で、それがですね、大学時代に遡るんですけども、大学時代の卒業制作の時にそうですね、卒業制作の提出の前日に窯から大きい壺を青磁の大きい壺を出したんですね。で、窯から出した時に貫入がピキピキという音を立てて、で貫入が少しずつ入ってくるんですけれども、その時にピキピキという貫入の音からちょっとビキッというちょっと鈍い嫌な音がしたんですね。でそれで急いでこの壺を見てみると口元のところにそういう大きいひびが入って貫入ができるタイミングで引っ張られるような形で、壺自体に大きいひびが入ってしまったんです。でこれじゃあちょっと提出できないなと思って悩んでいたところで漆を使って塞ぐ方法を思いつきました。それは日本でも一般的に金継ぎなのでその傷に対して漆を使って修復するっていうのは一般的にある技法なので、僕もそれを使ってで漆をでその傷を塞ごうというのを最初思ったんですね。
So this actually roots back to my college year. So when I was preparing for my graduation piece in my college I attended, I was taking my base, my ceramic out of the kiln, and by my mistake, by Kodai Sensei's mistake, there's a huge crack appeared on the surface, and that crack was not actually on the glaze, it was actually on the ceramic part of it. And I was thinking this is not the piece that I can call as a graduation piece, so I was wondering what I can do with it. So I thought about using this kintsugi style, to fix this huge crack. And that's actually that's actually the moment I thought about the potential in utilization of lacquer paint to kind of get the interesting texture.
でその時修復をする時にひびのところに漆を染み込ませていたらうまく染み込むなと思った時にもしかしてこれ貫入のところに漆を染み込ませるとこの貫入のところが漆で染まってこのひびのところと合計になってこれがひびの部分が目立たなくなるんじゃないかと思ってで試しに漆をこう貫入染み込ませてみたんですね。
So there are two different kind of crack that can happen on ceramics. One is called new, which is the crack on the ceramic piece itself, and another one is called kanyu, which is the crack that you see on the glaze, the coating layer of it. And when Kodai Sensei found this huge crack on this new part, he uses this kintsugi style to fix it. But then the fixing part was so visible, so that he wanted to do something to cover it up. And he thought about maybe if I paint over this kanyu, which is the crack of the glaze, this can kind of cover it up. And he added the new layers of it, and it kind of worked well. So this is kind of like origin of my style.
Kind of errors became as a kind of a surprisingly attractive new feature, new style. So it started as a kind of an accident, and it was not what he anticipated. So that's so interesting news story. So through ceramics, 焼き物を通してこの陶芸を通してどういったものを自分の表現としたいか、どういうことを伝えたいでしょうか。
私の
So through this practice of ceramics, what are the messages that you want to convey to people in the world and audiences that you see right now?
でそうですね。で私のなんかこう作品でこう重要な部分っていうのがその構成する部分で2つあるなと思っていて、それがこう生命的な要素、細胞的な細胞を感じるデザイン、それ自体がこう生きているような置いた時にこう動き出しそうなようなデザインを意識しています。あともう一つは
So there are two parts that I try to pay attention to when I try to talk about the quality of my ceramics. One part is the strong presence. To kind of portray the strong presence, I pay attention to this kind of like a presence of living kind of like almost like organic atmosphere, like a creature, like a living, like like body vein, very organic vibes. I guess.
Saw his work in the first time, I was like always like thinking about the recalling like it reminds me of some kind of a Gremlin, the movie, like some creature is really bursting from the aquatic water or something. It's just starting a new life. It's very somehow organic yet a little bit grotesque yet a little bit aquatic. It's not. I just capture that energy is not just the ceramics. It's more than that. It's very liquidary, just almost like a veins of some kind of creatures and the vessels or some kind of muscles or very organic, right? Yeah, it's a kind of how do you call versatile? Yeah.
もう一つがその不完全な形である。その端正な形よりもシンメトリーな形というよりかも何かちょっとこう足りなかったりとか欠けていたりとか何かこう破綻がある形っていうのが自分の中でこう出しているところであります。
So not only I want my piece to be alive and like real. I want this. I also kind of like want to emphasize this another quality of imperfectionism. So my understanding of quality comes from these imperfections actually, and to me this imperfection that I try to suggest through my piece almost provides some room for it to kind of like almost grow. Unlike this symmetric imperfection that's almost feels like I'm suffocating. This kind of way of understanding a quality imperfection gives me a room to actually feel like I can talk about quality almost. So that's something that I kind of pay attention to.
Definitely, his work is very distorted and not symmetry. It's very weird shape and how it makes even balance and very abrupt kind of painterly, but also unusual balance, and it's just so out of control kind of distinctively unique imperfection. So you make 茶碗を作られておりますけれども、このやっぱり茶碗っていうものに対して自分のその思い。
So you make a lot of tea bowls, but I'm curious to hear your opinion on the idea of tea bowl actually.
やっぱり茶碗っていうのは用途性を強くやっぱりその茶会の中で使う茶道具としてあるので、用途性を強く求められる時があります。それは立てやすさであったりとか飲みやすさであったりとか、あとは他の道具とのその取り揃えやすさであったりとか、そういう制限がやはりちょっと多くなるジャンルのものでして、その中でも僕はその制約の中でもいかにその茶碗としての存在感が出てくるかというのを重視しています。
So my understanding of tea bowl actually comes with a lot of limitations because tea bowl is something that's used in the tea ceremony, which it's been a Japanese tradition and culture. So there's a lot of rules to follow. So we always have to make sure the tea bowl carries certain functions. But then again, my understanding of tea bowl is actually on top of this functionality. I think the
limitation and the restrictions
yes.
in the context of the tea. It should be drinkable, it should be hold on the palm, it can be this and the rules, and the tradition of the tea has so many rules and restrictions. But he would like to try and challenge that kind of a limitation. So he would like to break some kind of a boundary within a tea bowl.
He's the rock and roll of tea bowl.
Exactly. Yes, avant-garde of in the tea. Yeah. Exactly.
でその中でも僕が
Maybe punks.
Right.
punks.
At the very end, punk
Yeah.
tea bowl.
その中でもその茶碗を作るということに対して意識していることはその茶会っていうのを僕の考えではある種その映画の中のような出来事というふうに捉えています。っていうのはその茶会の中でその店主がお客さんを喜ばせるためにその時のその茶道具というのを選ぶんですけれども、それは映画監督が俳優を起用するようにそれを一つの舞台として成立させるためにそれをやってるので、その茶道具自体が俳優だとしたらそれは役に徹する舞台に徹するその俳優がいてもいいし、僕のようななんですか、その中でもちょっとこうスリリングにさせてくれるようなそういう個性派俳優がいてもいい、はい、それがどっちがやってもそれは正解だと思います。
So I almost understand this tea ceremony as if it's a movie production. In this tea ceremony, there's this tea master who's serving the tea. And to Kodai sensei, the presence of the tea master almost seems like it's a movie director who is given a specific role, understanding its personality, trying to create the harmony in the entire production. Is really to me is a tea ceremony, and in that sense, tea bowls are just like actors, and I do value this functionality of the tea bowls as in something that participates to this movie production, but at the same time, I'm more interested in this creating the strong presence of the tea bowl as if it's an actor that's still very well known outside of the movie. A lot of movies and a lot of famous actors are very strong presence even outside of the movies. And that's what I'm kind of like thinking about my tea bowls as. I want my tea bowls to be something that goes beyond tea ceremony. Of course, it functions within the context of tea ceremony as well, but I want this to be displayed. I want this to be go outside of the tea bowl and still carry the strong presence. And that's something that I care about my tea bowls.
So let me ask you a question, because I don't know the culture in regards to tea bowls. Do tea bowls go from generation to generation traditionally? Like, do you have a family, you know?
So there are many tea bowls actually artisans in Japan, but also it depends. For example, he was born as a son of architect father, for example. So does not mean that the tea bowl master is inheriting from the generation. It totally depends in this modern world.
Okay.
But there are still many families. For example, Raku now 15th generation, Hagi 12 generations. I'm sorry, I mistook the numbers, but the generations still going on in Japan.
So this would be somewhat
Very unique,
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The style is usually under this classified based on the regions of Japan.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
I think my question meant like these objects, are they also from like an older generation, like a father to a son and then son to their children?
Yes, again, it depends. Someone take from the parents or somebody release. It's how it depends how you also enjoy art. And then last question, so 先生、日本語でいきますとですね、デザインマイアミで今回初めて出品されて、実際数日間マイアミ滞在されて、どういう感覚を得てるというか、何か印象だとか、あるいは今後何か作りたいものに影響を受けたとか、どういう感触でしょうか。
そうですね。
So regarding your experience in Miami, what's your impression of this modern world, and what's your impression of all those creations, and what is there any inspirations that you got out of this experience of coming to Miami and looking at those works and even going to the Basel? What's your opinion on this experience that you have right now in Miami?
そうですね。まずこういった国際的なこういった世界中から集まってくるイベントにまずアーティストと参加できたというのはすごく嬉しく光栄なことだと思っています。でこの数日間ですね、マイアミに立ってみて思ったことは世界中の方々がこんなにもティーセレモニー、日本特有の文化というのにすごい関心を寄せているんだなということが実感としてありました。
So I'm honored to be part of this international art fair. This is such a, I'm honored to be here, and I also do think it's actually a little surprise to me that a lot of people do care about Japanese culture, and a lot of people are actually interested in this tea ceremony. This is something that I was not expecting back when I was living in Japan, so this is a great discovery to me.
でその中でそうですね自分自身がそういう日本文化とそういう世界っていうのをつなげるためのそういう架け橋として自分の作品があればいいなというふうに思っています。
So with my experience, I'm convinced that I want to really create kind of like a bridge between this Western culture and American and Japanese culture. I wish my work to be really something that acts as almost like an entrance for people in America or people in the world to get to know about Japanese culture and kind of the aesthetics that we practice.
で今後の作品については
Briefly, what are things in nature, processes or beings that inspire you? And how do you ingest inspiration? And how does creativity, how does that turn into creativity?
こう自然界の中にあるものからどのようにインスピレーションを受けているのかっていうのと、あとそのインスピレーションをどのように自分のその制作の活動の中でこう表現しているのかっていうところ、どこからインスピレーションを受けているのかっていうのと、どのように表現しているのかっていう質問です。
あどのようにインスピレーションを受けるのか、
どこからです。自然界のどこからは。
自然界の僕がやっぱりその自然界の中で意識しているのは肌、スキン、動物の鱗であったりだとか、そういった人間のそういう、その細胞的な部分の表現であったりとか、
what I'm inspired from this like natural world, this like world, is actually this surface. This I do believe that presence of anything is kind of like always comes with a surface. So skin.
Also,
It's like a fish.
fish is
Yeah, exactly.
でそれでなんかその自然界のあるものっていうのも、そういう鱗であったりとかも意識するんだけれども、ただそれをその表現そのままするのではなくて、何かこう自分の中でこうなんだろうね、その先になんか進化した何かちょっとこうあれですかね、この未来の今こう現像するものではないけれども、それが何かこうこの先にこうなんかつながってるものでなんですかね、何かその進化した先の何かっていうのをこう意識してやっていますね。うまく言葉が変わらない。
So as I find inspirations from this like natural environment, I do feel like I want to kind of like add a layer to what's possible for me to perceive from natural environment as well. So I do want my work to contribute to, in a sense, this huge presence of the world. So in a sense, I'm always trying to make something new because of that inspirations.
And since we are same creature, we are from the Earth and planet, and so we share this whole millions of years of the kind of life to be passed on. And so he carry on, but at the same time he wants to envision something evolution into the future. So yes, so that's what he said. So when he said bridge between Japanese culture to the Western audience, but I believe he is becoming a bridge between past and future. So thank you so much. We would like to close today, but let's have a wonderful day. Thank you, Ujiie Sensei. Thank you so much.
ありがとうございました。
とても内容の濃い。
あ、本当ですね。